Sensory adaptations encourage students to become engaged in the creative process. There's lots of different ways to adapt lessons for sensory input or students with sensory deficits. Sometimes the surface is a nice way to adapt. These are some paints that can go on a little more smoothly, which creates a nice sensory experience. They kind of glide across as opposed to maybe using crayons or a paint and a brush. They're a great way to have the students quickly apply paint, and it provides a sensory experience. Alternatively, you can use different shapes and pressing, different types of things to paint with, sponges, Q-tips, cotton balls, anything like that's great to use. You can also provide sensory input by surfaces. This is a textured rubbing plate that makes a pattern. So students could, if they couldn't make their own pattern, they could rub this pattern on top. You could also use things like burlap, old puzzle pieces, packing material, bubble wrap, anything that would create some texture. Here's a few examples of some textured pieces. Not only is it have a sensory experience, but it's also visually appealing, engages all the senses. So touching and applying things this way is a great way. You can also have students press things in, whether it's pressing into clay or air drying clay. You can use and scent materials in your classroom. This one's vanilla. Usually vanilla and lavender are the two scents I recommend. And then there's also some sensory experiences of involving more of the whole body. So you can put some paint in a dish and dip. This is actually a toy, and there's some different sized balls that you can roll into paint and put it inside a box lined with a plastic bag and then roll it around. So tennis balls create a nice fuzzy texture. Sponges create a nice fluffy texture. And a lot of times I'll have students make a bunch of different beautiful papers. Here's another one. This one is made by a shaving cream print. So if you just put shaving cream and put some food dye on top of it and swirl it with a toothpick, then students can lay it on, and I use a roller to squeegee it off to get a nice print. All of those can be combined into making an art project. So it's kind of a two-step project. You can also have them draw on different fabrics. This is just paint that's puffy and metallic, and that can be used as a way to create art, or a second project could be making a frottage from that. Creating on any alternative surface like tin, and then of course doing some of the combing techniques, brushing, pulling a comb through it to create designs as engaging. Of course, building anything that engages the senses, like different levels of a relief painting, or you could do a printmaking plate and then have them do printmaking project like that. Drawing into styrofoam and making printing, or you can also make sandpaper prints, have them color on sandpaper and then heat up an iron and print it that way. I hope you've enjoyed these sensory adaptations.